I'm trying to use up much of the memory I have on this memory stick, and this is kind of a weird thing I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a list of all the problems I had with my body. It's more of I don't know, maybe what I want to say, a sick reminiscing. The first major problem I had, I was probably 11 years old, and I had appendicitis attack, and it put me in the hospital. I was in the hospital for 3 days, and just when I was supposed to be discharged, my incision opened up, and all sorts of green stuff was flowing out of my side. And what the doctor says is, when they operated, my appendix burst because they were so bad, and it kind of formed this this pus inside my on my side. They had to keep the incision open so it would drain, and it drained like that for 6 months. It would just ooze. I'd go to the doctor, and he'd have to open it. They'd put some sort of stick in the side, and they'd move it around, and it would start leaking again, and they kept doing that. It was a terrible ordeal for 6 months. Finally, it healed, and everything was fine. But it was kind of gross, and ever since that time, I just hated to go to hospitals. I played football, and I was 17, and I broke my left foot, and I played on it because I was a junior at the time. I played on it for about 3 or 4 games. They had to go in, and they rebroke it and put it in a cast, and it seemed to be okay. It doesn't bother me anymore after that. Then let's see, I was about 25 years old, and I really sprained my ankle really bad playing basketball, and they had to put it in a cast. I was in a cast for about 3 months, and that was no fun. But they were contemplating giving me a stiff foot. I mean, because I guess it was a pretty bad sprain, and they were scared I would have problems with it. But I kept it in the cast, and I kind of built it up, and it hasn't been bothering me since. The next major problem I had, I was about 36 years old, and I was fooling around with the skateboard. I went down our driveway with the skateboard, fell, landed on my right elbow, and I smashed. There was a bone in there, a little round bone, and I crushed that, and it was locking up. I couldn't move my right arm. So I had to go to the hospital, to the doctor, and into the hospital, and they operated, and they removed that bone, and surprisingly, I lost a lot of strength in my right arm, but that elbow has never bothered me. Then I was probably around 65 years old, and I started urinating blood, and I went in, and I had bladder cancer, and I got this bladder cancer because I had smoked I had quit for about 20 years, but I still got bladder cancer. In fact, the doctor says It was caused by smoking because these crap that cigarettes have, they can lodge in different organs, and what mine did, it caused what I want to say, a problem in my bladder. So they operated on. I was lucky because it was a stage 4 cancer, but it hadn't penetrated the walls. The only problem is I had to go to get my. They'd have to look at my bladder like every month, and then it was every 2 months, and then it was every month, and then it became every 2 months, and it went on like this forever. And it was about probably around my 8th it was about my 10th year. I went to the doctor, and he said I was more of a risk when they ran to look to see if I had cancer than if I had the cancer. So I stopped doing that. Then in my 70s, I think I was about 70, 71, I fell putting up the Christmas ornaments, and I really screwed up my right shoulder. It was in pretty bad shape, but I had a good surgeon, and he put me back together again, and for 10 years it hadn't bothered me. When I was 79, I had a bladder, my gallbladder was rotten. They had to remove my gallbladder, and they took it out. And, had no problems, but now I'm 80, 81, and it's been 10 years since I had my shoulder operated on, and my shoulder's bothering me. I've had several. The doctor that did the original thing says it's bone on bone, and I probably should have an artificial a replacement. They call it a replacement to replace my shoulder, but I'm not going to do that. I don't think. I'm just going to try to suffer it out and see what happens. Hopefully nothing will, and maybe something will. So that's kind of my rundown of all my aches and pains, all my ouchies that I had throughout my life. I'm kind of running out of battery life now. I'm going to sign off, and everybody probably thinks I'm weird doing this, but I don't know. It's just something I thought I should do.